We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and it has now been over 2.5 months, or I'm sorry, a month and a half, not 2.5 months, a month and a half since the Charlie Kirk murder. And I haven't spent a ton of time on it since the outset, since the first wave of quote-unquote evidence began to come out. And I have remained skeptical of what is being portrayed as both the mainstream version of events and also the alternative theories that have just swarmed the internet. And many of my initial concerns and questions still remain about this case, one of which I really do not see the vast majority of people asking, and I think it's a super valid question. I've heard some people, and we're going to talk about Candace Owens a bit here, Candace Owens amongst them, talk about the cameras that were set up by Charlie and Turning Point USA themselves, right? That's a great question. Obviously, not only would those exist, but I would imagine that they would have been made available to law enforcement, specifically the FBI, which we're also going to discuss here. But I also contend that there probably have to be, another 10 or so cell phone videos of the event from varying angles. And the fact that we don't have any of that is also alarming. That's going to dovetail into this idea of this gag order of all of the quote-unquote witnesses to the event, which, again, would probably be about 3,000 people, right? Now, if you're going to be called specifically via this case, that to me makes sense, but alarm bells are ringing, and especially with the situation of not only the FBI, but this judge and the quote-unquote judges themselves. Then we now have this report that Tulsi Gabbard, through the DNI, the Department of National Intelligence, and Joe Kent looking into this murder and whether or not it could be associated with a quote-unquote foreign government. Now, many of the alternative theories that are swarming the internet, and especially with Candace Owens, is that this was some type of a Mossad or Israeli hit job. And those things came out of the gates. you have this peripheral, circumstantial evidence that's progressively come out more and more. Harrison Smith talking about a conversation he had with one of Charlie's friends and him worrying about Israel taking him out. Now these direct messages that show Charlie talking about donors, Jewish donors in particular, and the stereotypical nature. You have the Bill Ackman meeting and then the response by Ackman himself. And it was just so big out of the gates that even Greta Van Stussen, really within days of the murder, is sitting there with Benjamin Netanyahu and talking about the fact that it's all over the place that there is quote-unquote Israeli involvement. So one of the new pieces of evidence, and again, I'm not breaking out my jump to conclusions map, but I find it interesting, and we're going to show it to people, are all these Google searches that researchers are pulling up. And I'm going to give my viewpoint on that have very odd searches for people involved in this murder and other assassinations, if you will, coming out of Israel. Now, out of the gates, and I'm going to repeat this, anything digital when we're talking about IP addresses, you have commercialized VPNs, sure, but there are so many sophisticated ways of spoofing an IP address that are probably undetectable, and therefore possibly creating a false flag in that manner to make it appear as a nation state is making these searches. But we're going to show you the evidence. We're going to let you decide. So it's going to be a shorter video, but what I want you to do is thumbs this up, subscribe, share. If you're new to the channel, also ring that bell. Check out all the documentary films down below for free. Fabled Enemies and Loose Change Final Cut if you want to learn about 9/11. And then my large-scale, bigger pictures, and that's Invisible Empire and New World Order Defined, and of course, Shade, the motion picture. I could use your support. Folks, cannot do it without you. You have supported me over the years, but half of the audience is brand new. If you like what you're seeing, please consider donating $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me. Big donors, thank you so much. I do want to say thank you to a couple people that hit the Buy Me a Coffee. Louis V. Donato Jr., thank you so much. Christina Stikos, thank you. Very generous of you. And then we also have the PayPal down below. I want to remind people, marigoldresources.com. If you're buying or selling a business, they support this broadcast. Mr. McGreevy does a great job, and he also has the River Cities Reader, rcreader.com. Truly independent media here in the Quad Cities, and it's in print as well. Give me a follow on X. That's where you're going to find a lot of this raw stuff. Let's get into it. So, Candace Owens. All right, and there's a lot to say about her and media representation, and I've watched a lot of these videos. I just want to say this out of the gates. Candace Owens is a human being. Candace Owens has gotten things wrong. Okay, in particular in this case. Now, that's number one. Now, I'm not saying because Candace Owens has gotten things wrong that she hasn't also gotten things right. I want to make that extremely clear. But Candace Owens is this person that, to me, I think lacks the humility, all right, and the self-awareness at the end of the day to kind of pull back. And instead of coming in hot, and listen, she knew this guy personally. I'm sure that adds to the gravity of the situation. And see what's real and what's not. She got the McGregor situation totally wrong. Right? And to get something that, in my opinion, important, not only because you have the UFC, you have Disney at the time with ESPN basically having this deal with them. I mean, you had a lot of factors and a lot of big money. And now this guy's become, an attempted political figure. Well, there's no doubt that he's a political figure. Whether or not he becomes prime minister, we'll see how far it goes. I mean, mobbed up the whole nine. Candace got that wrong. Okay? And there's been no mea culpas on that. There's been no, I was wrong. Here's the actual evidence. No. That's alarming. Okay? Now, in particular, there's been a slew of evidence out there. I think some more viable than others. I think also there's got to be more video footage of the alleged assassin as well as the assassination, as we talked about earlier. A ton of questions raised in that regard. Tyler Robinson himself. We just did a video on Psycho Nation, right? This 1984 lecture by Michio Kushi, where in 1984, he talks about Bio Nation, Psycho Nation, Ultra Psycho Nation, and a timeline to transhumanism. And during this time period, he talks about Ultra Psycho Nation. And I want people to really understand that. So if you haven't seen The Rise of the New Human Race, it is a must watch. But why do I bring that up? Well, right now, as far as we know, sorry about that. Oh, not good. We got things locking up on us. That's all right. We're gonna figure this out. The trans lover, Lance Twiggs, is nowhere to be found. And a lot of people haven't honed in on this. Whether or not Tyler Robinson, is the killer, he's gone, man. All right? If you don't think that this person was on all sorts of psychotropics, I just don't know what to say. That, like, no one's honing in on that. I mean, the Twigs guy, who's supposedly trans or transitioning and also a furry, also probably heavily medicated. We're in an ultra psycho nation. Now, I'm not saying that proves or disproves his guilt. I'm waiting to see the real timeline. I'm waiting to see the evidence that they present. There's suspicious things going around the gun. This guy's activity after the fact, whether or not this story of him basically being handled with kid gloves through a parent and a church with a law enforcement official, I want to see the evidence on that. I want to see the evidence on all of it. Okay? So Candace has already said, multiple times, and the headline on that last one is she's like blaming the Trump administration. I watched the clip. I don't think she's blaming the Trump administration. She says she doesn't trust the Trump administration. It's been pretty clear where her direction is. That foreign nation state is really that. And she's talked about, giving somebody a holiday and a boulevard and the whole nine. And her points there are well taken. I don't necessarily disagree with those points, but all this stuff is circumstantial. Nobody even really knows for sure how this thing was carried out. Now, we've been told the 30-06, rooftop, etc., Tyler Robinson. Okay, one shot, one kill. That's what we've been told. I mean, there's been a slew of other theories that I've discussed that I don't necessarily think pan out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's the roof shooter, etc. Could be. I'm still totally open to that. With that being said, everybody's in a tiss about this ballroom as if like that's a talking point. Oh, the government shutting down the ballroom. I couldn't care less. But Charlie Kirk is a big possibility for it being named after him. I honestly think that is a big possibility, and there are opportunists out there. I think that some people are reading into that more than they should. There are certain people that have been accusatory of the wife and her actions on that. I've talked about it. This is a woman that grew up on the public stage, in the eye of the media, in beauty contests, obviously from a well-off family. Like, this was all, part of the gig. So I haven't seen anything that makes me super suspicious of her either. I've seen the UN stuff, all that. Okay? Just want to make that clear. Okay? And as far as not trusting Kash Patel, why would you? Okay, let's talk a little bit about Kash. What has he really been able to dig deep on that he talked about prior to the election? Failed on the Epstein thing, 100%, like 100,000%. The Epstein thing is a total debacle at this point. Everybody knows it on all sides of the political spectrum. Everybody knows it that's paid the least bit attention and knows who Kash Patel is. He's like synonymous with that. But then you have bold statements by Patel where he was saying things like what? Oh, we're going to shut down the FBI building. We're going to turn it into a museum. Not even close. Not even close. You're seeing some of the indictments, but when it comes to election fraud, voter fraud, what are we really seeing? When we're seeing the January 6th stuff, what are we really seeing? When we're seeing the Biden corruption in that administration, and the fact they put a zombie in there with an auto pen, what are we seeing? Are we really going to see even criminal and like trials on these people? I mean, let me just say this about Patel as well, because I think that this is important. You do wonder how compromised an individual like that is. Metzger, who I love and admire, he was the first one to put me onto it, but other people have discussed it with me as well. The idea that Patel is, a houseboy, if you will, somebody who's in the closet. And sexual preference, I don't really care. I don't like it when people are not outward about that because they are easily compromised, period, for whatever reason. Whether that's their family, whether it's their public persona, et cetera, you're easily manipulated if that is the case. So, I've heard the attractive younger girlfriend is a beard. I don't know. It does seem like Patel is extremely career driven, and I don't throw that out of the realm of possibility. So what you did have, okay, was Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard, again, the Defense National Intelligence, looking into a quote-unquote foreign government. That's what the New York Times is reporting. I think we all know what the foreign government is. And Patel has basically come out and said, overstepped the boundaries and this and that. This to me seems real, by the way. And it also seems to me that this shows you that there are people that are not just going along to get along. There are good people within the government and even the upper echelons at this point. All right? But whether or not they can really take action or it amounts to anything, or we get to see the aftermath of that in the public arena, that is still way up in the air. So I want to read this because I do find this pretty interesting. Now, circumstantial at best, and as I've said before, anything digital can be spoofed, but if we are looking down that road, okay, we need to look at this. So I'm just gonna read this verbatim. By the way, let's get those thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Is it just a string of coincidences, or are we witnessing the deliberate manipulation of a major political trial right before our eyes? The high-stakes case of the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk on July 28th, 2025, during a Turning Point USA rally in Provo, Utah, a series of bizarre and unsettling events surrounding the judiciary, the FBI, and the accused shooter Tyler Robinson are raising serious questions. Before the tragic event even took place, key figures connected to the trial were the subject of mysterious Google searches originating from Israeli IP addresses. Now, with a gag order silencing all witnesses, the public is left to wonder, is the official narrative obscuring a much deeper and more sinister truth? All right, so this is coming from Sam Parker, a.k.a. Based Sam Parker. Let's see. Just as the people suspect a conspiracy behind Charlie Kirk's death, Many see chilling similarities in the high-profile assassinations where official stories crumbled under scrutiny. But are the parallels real, or are we just seeing things? So on July 26th and May 15th, okay, the judge that Tony Graff, the judge that he replaced, Robert Gaff, were both the subject of unique Google searches from Israeli IP addresses. All right, and this guy's showing their work. Again, if anybody wants to debunk this, they can send it under the video. I'm open to everything. And then you look at this. If you look at the timeline, right, here it is right here. July 29th, 2025, the accused shooter, Tyler Robinson, was arrested and taken into federal custody. All right. August 1st, Judge Robert Luna, 20-year veteran of the U.S. Department, officially retires. August 3rd, a grand jury formally indicts Robinson on charges of murder and domestic terrorism. August 4th, 2025, Judge Tony Graff, a man with a reputation for the tight control of his courtroom and who has been approached by Utah governor, is sworn to replace Lunan. Let's see. I'm looking at this timeline, and this is all before. Okay, these are digital breadcrumbs. It's very odd. Okay, adding another layer of the 5 finalists considered for Judge Lunan's vacancy, another candidate, Von Christensen, was also searched for from an Israeli prior to the assassination. Okay, so he's showing this as well. Now, again, you go check it out yourself, because I'm not saying this proves anything. Well, anything digital can be spoofed. I am saying that there are a ton of questions still to be asked about this assassination. Okay? I know there are questions surrounding the autopsy, the lack thereof, the lack of the paperwork from the autopsy, the lack of an exit wound. Okay? All those very viable questions. And I'll say it again. I said at the beginning of the video, there should be so many more videos available to the public. Like I said, guys, this is going to be a relatively short one. Let's thumbs it up, subscribe, and share on the way out. Give a comment down below. Let me know what you think. All right? And again, I've seen a ton of the stuff there. I like the raw data. You got raw data like that for me? That's the chef's kiss. Send me down a real rabbit hole, not just some Johnny nonsense, speculative stuff. We'd really appreciate it. If you want to support the broadcast, please consider the links down below. The Buy Me a Coffee, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Big donors, please, please, please come through right now. We need you now more than ever. I do want to remind everybody, if you've not seen The Rise of the New Human Race and you don't know what I mean by Ultra Psycho Nation, say it with me now, Ultra Psycho Nation. Check that out, as well as all the documentary films for free. We also got the PayPal down below. And as everybody knows, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. This issue included. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.